is what happened when I took my complete tractor, including backhoe and front bucket, to the dealer to have them address a couple of warranty issues, none of which had to do with the operation of this control valve on the BH92. So what they said they did was they had to replace all of these seals in a backhoe with about, I don't know, maybe 4 hours at the most on it. I took it in at 20 hours, and there wasn't 20 hours of backhoe work. There could have been maybe two to four at the most. They said they had to go through and replace all these seals because they were leaking, which is insane on 2 hours, brand new, from the factory. So what they ended up doing is they had to disassemble all of these connections. Each one of these connections, take these control arms off, and then remove these covers which hold the seals in. So when they reassembled it, this is what happened. It worked probably for about 50 hours. I used it fine until yesterday, when this piece, which bolts on here, this piece here, broke off. This piece fits on just like this piece here. I'm sorry, this piece here. So it's the same as this. Little end link, got a ball joint on it. Got a ball joint on it. It goes up to the stick here. Goes up to the stick here and attaches with a bolt. Well, this was rocking back and forth so far that it would hit this control lever, or the actual, it would hit the cylinder. Let me see if I can get a better picture here. Okay. So it was rocking back and forth on here whenever it was actuated and actually hitting the cylinder. And if you look at this, you can see the wear mark on the bottom and the wear mark on the top, right there, where that was continually hitting against this as it was mating to that surface. It was hit whenever I go that way, it hit whenever I went that way, and pretty soon it just snapped off right here. The top that attaches to here just snapped off. So I took it apart and I said, well, what could be the issue? What could it be done? What was wrong? I mean, that's not something that just breaks. What I found is this bolt that holds the assembly together, this bolt has a washer on it. That washer goes up against that ball joint, giving it clearance so that the nut doesn't hit the ball joint as it's pivoting up and down. Well, the same thing's true on the other side. If you don't have a washer in there between this and the valve here, well, the top of this is going to hit that valve and not let it move all the way. Well, enough movement, it's going to break the top off just like it did. So I went over and I looked at this valve assembly to see if there was a washer on the inside. And guess what I found? Here you go. There's a washer right there. See that washer? Right? Let's see if I get my finger in there right. Right there, there's a washer. And on this side, there's a washer. So there's a washer here and there's a washer on the other side. On the one I deinstalled, only one washer. Hence, nowhere on this side of that whole ball joint assembly where it hits the housing. But if you turn it over where the other side that didn't have a washer sits, you have wear on the top and wear on the bottom where it was hitting the face, where it was hitting the face of the control valve. Now that's shoddy workmanship. I posted on Tractor Forum that I was displeased with the fact that this dealership went ahead and disassembled this and replaced these valves that weren't leaking, because I didn't have any problem with it. It's 2 hours that I used it. And they said when they got it, it was oil all over the floor, but I never had any oil leaks. So I expressed to the dealership my displeasure in them just doing something without my approval, because they went ahead and replaced all those seals. And when I picked it up, they said, hey, Don, we went ahead and replaced those seals for you, but that's okay. There's no charge to you. Kubota's going to cover it. My thought is, I don't even think Kubota realized that it probably didn't need done. And maybe they paid for the work, and maybe it was done, maybe it wasn't, but it wasn't necessary, in my opinion. And from what I've seen from the use of my tractor at 2 hours, it didn't need it. I didn't see any oil anywhere. So let me get back to what I said. I posted this on Tractor Backhoe. And I had a lot of replies about people saying, well, the dealer knows best. You know, the dealer did what they thought was best. And you can't fault the dealer for doing something. And besides, if they put new gaskets in there, hey, you didn't have to pay for it, so what are you worried about? Well, I'm worried about just this kind of thing, and that's what I replied to a few people on Tractor Backhoe with, is that I don't know if this job was done correctly. And if it wasn't done correctly, who's going to pay in the future? Certainly not going to be the dealer. It's going to be me, because that's going to fail when I need it, and then I'm going to have to fix it. Well, lo and behold, 3 days after I make that post on BuyNet, what happens to me? I take this apart, and I find that the technician at the dealership left the washer on the inside off, which is going to cause the wear pattern that you see right here that ends up snapping that off. Now granted, tractor's got almost 400 hours on it. So that end link lasted how many hours of backhoe, if I even use it 20% of the time? That's 80 hours. But I'm not impressed, because they did it wrong, and it should have lasted me a lot longer. And I shouldn't have to be going out spending $8. Yeah, $8 is not a lot of money for this end link. But I had to find out that they lost a washer somewhere along the line. I had to find that out, and that they put it together wrong anyways. Don't they have a manual that they follow? And if they didn't follow a manual, how do I know that they put the seals in right? Now, I'm still concerned. I'm even more concerned now than I was before. Well, that's my frustration. I'm going to go ahead and find a washer to put in there. Hopefully it'll work until I get the right part from the manufacturer. We're all set, I think. I went ahead and replaced the missing washer with a washer. Now there's a washer. Let me point that out to you. There's a washer on the inside right here that you can see. And I had to do a makeshift washer on this side here. You can see it right there. So it's a washer that I clipped down from a larger washer, and I put another washer on the outside because that's a pretty thick washer. So I needed to make this a little bit more thick than what I would get with just one washer. But the outer washer here doesn't interfere. So you can see when I move that. So if I can get in there close enough to you can see what's going on. There you go. Kind of hard to see, but basically doesn't interfere. I get a good solid hit for this valve going down. I can feel that valve hitting, and if I put stress on this, I don't see that bending. So if I go the other way, it's the same. I don't see anything bending on that side. The valve is moving around as it should be. Pull it back, forward, there's nothing. It feels really very good, just like this side does. And that wasn't happening before. So that's very good. Now I'll go ahead and leave that for now. When I take it in for service, I'm just going to, I'm not for service, I'm going to show them the old part. That would be the broken part. I can bring that up and let them know that I need a replacement part, and that I need the washer that goes on there too. Okay, let me put her back together.